Postpartum depression is something we've heard about in the news or on social media when the situation has gone critical. For example, a few years ago when it was reported that a mom put her kids into a car and drove them into a lake. She had postpartum depression that developed into postpartum psychosis. This degree of postpartum depression is rare, but it can happen. Postpartum depression is often caused by hormones, genetics, or environmental stressors. It's common for a woman to experience sadness after giving birth, even when you have fulfilled a dream by having a child through embryo adoption. You may be caught by surprise that you're having unwanted or uncomfortable feelings when you thought this would be the happiest time of your life. This is often referred to as having baby blues, which is generally normal and not the same as having postpartum depression. As many as 1 in 5 women experience significant symptoms of depression or anxiety during or after pregnancy. A lot of times, moms feel overwhelmed even if it's not their first time. When they tell their partner, friends, or family, sometimes their feelings are not recognized and brushed off. But what happens when you feel like you might hurt your baby? Although it's a common feeling, it can escalate into a safety concern. Women often have difficulty asking for help and try to work everything out by themselves. Getting help can make all the difference. Becoming a parent changes your life and can feel very overwhelming and stressful. You could feel angry and resentful as you try to resume a normal life. Sometimes your feelings impair how you function, which can indicate help is needed. That's the time to reach out to your family, friends, and perhaps your doctor to talk about what you're experiencing. Your doctor can give you a postpartum depression risk assessment to see if you need help. You may be prescribed medication and be referred to a therapist, counselor, or support group. Any unusual extremes of behavior are concerning and often indicate postpartum depression. Postpartum depression doesn't only affect new moms, it can affect your partner too. Remember, it's not something you can just snap out of. What you're feeling and experiencing is not your fault. Here are a few examples that might help you recognize postpartum depression. As she took care of her new baby, Susan had racing negative thoughts. She wasn't happy although she had a wonderful pregnancy delivery and reached her goal of being a mom. She found herself pretending that all was well, but it wasn't. Susan's thoughts didn't make sense to her. She felt anxious and sad. She tried to talk to her family and friends about how she was feeling, but she was told that she was being ridiculous. As her worries grew deeper that something would happen to the baby, she kept her thoughts to herself out of fear of being criticized or judged. Eventually, she realized her thoughts and fears were not normal blues or worries, and she reached out to her doctor. Karen suffered burnout as she worked so hard to be the perfect new mom after having her first child. She put a lot of pressure on herself to maintain the pre-baby lifestyle and household that she was used to having. She worked endlessly to keep her house immaculate, laundry done, make healthy dinners, maintain her self-care schedule, in addition to taking care of the baby and breastfeeding. She was overwhelmed and unable to keep up with everything she piled on herself to do. She felt like a failure. Her husband was aware that Karen believed she needed to be Superwoman and tried to help her, but she wouldn't let him. After they talked about his concerns, he convinced Karen to go for counseling to have a safe place to share her feelings and to develop healthier coping skills. After a few weeks in therapy, she realized that asking for help is a strength and not a weakness. She asked her husband to help with certain chores, and together they worked out a schedule that would allow Karen some time to take care of herself, which made it easier for her to take care of their baby. Erica never experienced anxiety until a few days after she came home with her baby daughter. She was having difficulty breastfeeding, which made her worry that the baby was starving because of being difficult to soothe. In spite of daily calls to the pediatrician who told her to supplement using a bottle, her anxiety grew stronger and most of the day was spent feeding, weighing, and excessively worrying about the baby. Erica was afraid to sleep when the baby slept. was afraid to take a shower because during those moments alone, her mind would race and she would find herself stepping out of the shower to go check on the baby. She became deeply depressed and severely anxious. Erica was not eating or drinking in addition to being sleep deprived, and it was taking a toll on her physical and mental health. Her husband called the doctor and made an appointment for her to be evaluated, and she was diagnosed with postpartum depression. To further help Erica, her husband hired a baby nurse who helped her learn ways to take care of the baby, which lowered her anxiety. Although Tina adopted the embryo she gave birth to, during her pregnancy she chose not to have the sex of the baby revealed. She really wanted a girl. When her son was born, Tina was disappointed, kept her feelings private, and put on a big smile for everyone, but deep down grieved the loss of her dream daughter. Her anger was growing because she felt like she got second best. She was afraid to be alone with him because of her negative thoughts and asked her mother to come help her. Tina shared her angry feelings and sadness with her mother, who insisted Tina make an appointment with her doctor for an evaluation. After a few months, Tina started to feel joyful about her son and blossomed in her maternal journey. As you can see, unsettling emotions and concerns are common and may not be postpartum depression. Often new parents are overwhelmed and terrified they will do something that will harm the baby. Feeling anxious is normal for many new parents, but having paralyzing anxiety attacks is not. Feeling sadness is normal, but being depressed is not. Feeling overwhelmed is normal, but not being able to function properly is not. Knowing what is normal and what is not normal behavior is key to realizing that you may be experiencing postpartum depression, and seeking help is vital to not only your health, but the health and safety of your child and your relationship with your significant other.